Hello, you're welcome to Tpl Property, your #1 online educative platform on all issues related to land and landed properties. This is where Nigerians and non-Nigerians have easy access to every information related to land procurement, building construction, land documentation, registration, and obtaining planning permits. This episode promises to be educative as always, because I'll be speaking with a professional in town planning and also a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, no other than town planner Badejo Hakeem Olatunji. As you know, my name is Oiza. Let's go. Okay, let's go back to talking about planning permits. What can you say about the level of compliance with the content in the planning permit, especially when people apply for it and they eventually get it?
In this Lagos, I think there are more. Don't let me use that word in the. Let me just be very careful. There are more people who are deviant. Who they are breakers of law. They are so desperate that they will not conform with the planning permit. Even when they obtain planning permit, they will not conform with what they have obtained. And that's why Lagos State government will continue feeding fat on them. Because by the time they want to demolish their house, you will see they will start carrying placards, save our soul. They will go to the House of Assembly, putting pressure on their House rep, their representative there, and the House rep will be putting pressure on the government. The governor will be putting pressure on the officers or the GM or the commissioner in the planning offices. You see, the thing goes back now because people did not want to obey the law. They don't want to do the right thing, which is very, very wrong. And we hardly followed even the permit that we obtained. I can tell you free. 70% of houses in Lagos do not have planning permits. 70. Just to be very generous. Let me be very generous. You can imagine. Okay. That is only 30, less than 30 owns planning permit. Anywhere. Okay. The only area where you find high level of compliance, maybe in the government estate. Even in the government estate, you will notice that 30% of them did not obtain planning permit, or 40%. And even those that owns, they are blazing contrary to what they build. I know a lot of people, they get approval for 3 floors, they are going for 4 floors or 5 floors. They are asked to live 10 meters, they are living just 6 meters. That place is enough to take cars now. I don't want to.
So what can be done what do you think the government can do? What measures can the government put in place to make developers, willingly apply and at the same time follow the contents, abide by the content of the planning permit?
Okay, willingly apply. That's another key word you say. Government too must relax on the demand you are expecting. The government of the day have seen planning as a source of good revenue for the states. If I'm not mistaken, I learned that the planning office is about the 3rd generating revenue now in the states.
Wow.
You can imagine. So nobody wants to leave the juicy area that is relaxed. Where the assessment being paid, let it be reduced. Let the penalty, let it be reasonable and has a movement phase. You are asked to go and pay 100 million for penalty. With 100 million, you know how many houses you are going to build with that. If I want to build small, assessment. People are paying as much as 150 million, depends on the size of the house. Just an average house, you need minimum of 4 million now to build an house in Lagos for permit alone. Many people, when they see 1 million, they will go and establish foundation. So that's the area. And Many people don't have the money. They want to give it to a developer. Developer too want to capitalize, maximize the returns on their in their investment, and so they are ready to break the law and ready to pay, you know, to buy their way in. And there's a gamut of corruption. You know, of course, when the pressure is high, you know, of course, there is no way, you know, the officer monitor will not buckle.
Now, you mentioned something that's, leading me to this question. Oftentimes, you realize that development activities are influenced by affluent people in the society. Like the rich man, you says, that can afford to build a 4-story building, and he did not follow the right procedures. So, because he is influential, monitoring officers cannot carry out their duties. So what do you think the government can do as a consultant planner to tackle this problem? Because if this continues, you see that we have an increase in the number of illegal development around us. So how can we tackle this problem and at the same time give officers freedom to operate?
We must be ready to hold the bull by the horn. When I say hold the bull by the horn, is that there must not be any sacred cow. Everybody must be on the same pedestal. It does not matter whether he's a former commissioner, is a former House of Rep, is a member of House of Rep. Let me tell you, I don't want to go into it. No monitoring officer can go to the governor's house if they know that it's the governor or his wife that is building that house. Whatever it is, let him build it. Whereas in the other clime, is that even person that they will use as a scapegoat? Can you see what's going on in UK now with Boris when it comes to using, whether breaking the COVID-19, restriction, not because they say they're having party. No, I'm not having party. You can see that's the president of the country, the prime minister. How they are checking him. Who dare go to call to the Aso Rock that they were doing party in Aso Rock, or even chairman local government? We are still not serious. So we must let everybody be on the same pedestal, and start from the top notch. Well, immediately you take care of the people at the top. You use them as scapegoats. Those are at the lower class. They will still try. They will comply. But when the man can get away and nobody can arrest him or put him to shame, it's going to be a free for all. It's only you and me that are going to be made a scapegoat. So that's it. You must be ready to apply the law. That nobody's above the law.
Yeah, I understand. So recently, the Lagos State government pronounced that henceforth buildings above 3 floors will no longer be permitted in the Ebute Metta part of Lagos. Now, what is your take on this? What are your thoughts?
Yes, that's a very interesting thing. I remember on our platform of the NIT of Nigerians of Town Plan Lagos State, it was a hot debate and people started firing. I know started firing the commissioner, and he was also trying to defend it and things like that. Let me tell you, this is my own perception of it. The government acted in panic. It was a panic reaction. So that's my own honest about it. It was a panic reaction to the rate of collapse in Ebute Metta. And I'm sure, they are not trying to say it's a temporary measure, but you didn't say anything on that. You know what you want to say? You must state it that it's just for 6 months, we want to do it. Nobody's saying until when people started firing, they say it's a temporary measure and things like that. Let me tell you, the interesting thing, maybe they did not think about it. And if they have thought about it, the government, those in the government are in the best position to answer that. You can imagine. I cannot tell you, there are not less than 2, 3, or 4 houses within Ebute Metta that have been given planning permit for 4, 5, or 6-story building before the pronouncement. So what's going to happen to them? They cannot develop again. No, I'm asking. Let the GM, LASPA, or the commissioner answer that. They cannot develop. You have issued me permit, I've paid, and you can say because of this new regulation I cannot develop. And let me tell you, we don't know the social implication of that pronouncement. Most of these developments, that's another interesting thing. Most of these developments are being carried out by developers. In most cases, let me tell you, in most cases, developers will agree with the family that owns the land, blah, blah, blah. They are going to develop 4 floors, 5 floors. Developers always take the ground floor because that's where they are going to put the shops. Don't let deceive ourselves. The first floor is also maybe another level of shop.
A warehouse.
Or they will even tell you it's a residential, but it's shops or offices they are going to use it for in a And they will tell you it's only the 4th floor they are going to give to the
landowner.
The property owner. So meaning that when they develop up to 3 floors, well, we can't develop again, no, because the state government has told us that we cannot do 4 floors. So what's going to happen? It's going to be settling that rift in court or the state. I don't know whether they really took that into consideration. A lot of you know, what do you call it? A lot of arguments or clarity will be going on between the developer and the owners. That no, that's not about. I said, well, I want to do it, but the government said I cannot do 4 floors again. And who's going to pay? That is, the property owner doesn't have anything again, and there's going to be a lot of litigations. I'm telling you, you know, we don't. That's why I said they acted in panic. Of course, the rate is getting high, whether they acted in panic or not. That an action must be taken. But before the action was taken, what is the study carried out? What is the area? Yeah, and for what long? And for how long will it be done? And up to when are you going to do that? You know, even I'm telling you, let them go and take inventory of how many families that thing has affected, and you will know that it is not the best, you know. But if the statement has mentioned that, well, for the next 6 months we are studying, we want to know the area, we want to know what you're going to do and things like that, that's another thing. People will say, it's okay, either we are going to have the 6 months to the development period. You can adjust that of the developer. That's another thing. But just that blanket, it will lead to unpleasant situation in the society.
We'll go on a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
Cable Plus Property, the hub of professionals in the built environment and the #1 online educative platform on all issues related to land and landed property. At Cable Plus Property, our aim is to ensure that all Nigerians and non-Nigerians have at the tip of your fingers, free of charge, all information on landed matters. We provide you with all information you need to know about land procurement, land documentation and development, planning permit procurement, building construction, and so on. Join us today for free by subscribing to our YouTube channel, like and follow us on our social media platforms, and check us on our website www.cableplusproperty.com. Together, we shall make our environment better. Spend and build right.
Welcome back. This is still the Cable Plus Property Show, and I'm on with Town Planner Badejo Hakeem Olatunji. So how do you think town planners can be of help in preventing and managing disasters of various kinds?
Yes, you see, before I even answer that question, let me tell you one of the saying of the governor of Lagos State, that's Fashola. Mr. Fashola, he said, I've realized, I will never forget that words. He said, I have realized that no amount of money I spent on education, no amount of money I spent on health, no amount of money I spend on commerce without proper planning all comes to naught. Take note. That's a man with sense that he knows that planning is of very important. And given that at its may, is the planner when planners are designing an area, that is where the road is, the size of the road. You know, that's why we have categories of road. Arterial road, distribution road, access road, and things like that. Even within shopping complexes, there are going to be minimum setbacks. The one I gave you earlier that we discussed on regulations, that you must have the minimum setback and things like that. Just last week or the beginning of, I saw on the social media that Balogun market is burning, blah blah blah, and people they started throwing their goods and things like that. And when I looked at it as a planner, you know what I was looking at? Why is it that this place is so narrow that even if any fire truck cannot get to the source of the fire? And you know what they are just trying to use? They are trying to get what you call it, fire extinguisher to put off the light, and they cannot even near to because I saw the level of fire coming out. This planning. When they are telling them leave this setback 6 meters, 6 meters. If you leave 6 meters, you have 12 meters. You can walk in. A truck doesn't need more than 3 meters to drive in. They don't need more than 3 meters to drive in and go. But you will notice that the 6 meter setback or 9 meters in a commercial area, they've narrowed it to less than 2 meters. How will the truck goes in there? So this is a disaster waiting to happen. We are created disaster. And when the government enforcement wants to go and remove themselves because we are Igbos, that's why, you know, they are not, because we are Ijebus, they don't want us in Lagos. You know, everybody, they will put in sentiment. And because the government too is handicapped, we will just say, no, leave them. And when things like this happen, it's the same set of people that be running to the government. Please come and assist us. So we have lost 20 million, I've lost 200 million. You know, and things like that. But why are we allowing that? That's why anytime I travel to some of these developers, when I look at the space in between, anytime I travel to US, I always get amazed. The space in between their what you call their shopping complexes. You can walk, and I would say, wow, we can never see that. That space in Lagos, they will shock it up.
For an extra shop.
For an extra shop or extension. They first put the what's it called, the bentigo, what's it called, the cover. They say they are using it to prevent water. After that, they will put another thing. Before even all the walkway, they will. By the time, let me tell you, disasters are bound to happen anywhere in the world. But is at the rate we get to it, it's another thing. We cannot get to our own. Number one, we don't have efficient response system. Don't let's deceive ourselves. I was just listening of what the shooting in America, the two shootings. Even the first one, they were there before it. The second one, they were there on time. Our own, they will have killed everybody before they come. So our own response system is very poor. Then two, our planning system will not allow you. The road is not good. Oh God, what are we talking? So planning is it. So everybody that is not taking, any state, any government that is not taking plan, it's not because I'm a planner. I'm telling you, the core is the life. Planning is life. They always say they who fails to plan, plan to fail. So that's it. If you can't know how to get to your area, that's the end of it. You get shocked up.
Now that leads me to this question, which is quite related. Health and safety, they are very important factors. So how do these elements affect where town planning allows development to take place? For example, you mentioned setbacks, importance of setbacks to pipeline, to highways, high tension power line, restriction of building heights, and others like that.
Come again. I didn't.
So how does health and safety affect town planning?
That's a tall other question, but I will give you, when there is proper planning, you are sure that your safety is assured. Are you getting what I'm saying? Let me look at many people, you know, we fence ourselves up. You know, all the houses I built, I make sure that the fence is low. That if anything is happening inside, anybody can see. In this country whereby you fence up your entire thing and you are there and the robbers will come in and lock the door and they will tell you go and cook for them. They are eating. But if the offense is low, that's another area which we need to look at. Everybody's.
But people fence up for security reasons.
You know, you don't need it. You don't really need it. Yeah, and those who fence up for security, are they not going in? No, tell me. Yes, they fence up for security. Are they not going in? It's only deter, you know, the petty thieves. But the real thieves, they will know how to come in, and they come in, and you have even shielded them off, and they have the free time and all the time, you know, to deal with you. That's why in some estates, that's why I like some of the estates in Lagos. They make sure that your fence cannot be more than 1 meter. They've secured the perimeter fence. That's the most important thing. Secure the perimeter fence. Anybody within the estate, they want to see you. Why? What are you hiding? What are you hiding that you want to, you know, safety, security, you know, and even when in this part of the world again, we don't have constant power supply. Everybody will put on generator until the fume. Whereas when the fences are low, you can see the breeze can blow very well, and yeah, there's going to be good ambient of air circulation. That's what we are taking in. Please, it doesn't worth it. We don't really need it. So it's planning. So why must everybody go 3 meter fence? Concrete, after 3 meters, they will still put. That's what we call architecture of fear. Put another what you call electric wire or barbed wire and things like that. And they will see scale too. But that's okay. I don't want to mention. Of recent, EFCC went enter one politician's house in Abuja with all the security bulletproof door. Well, did they enter or did they enter? No, tell me. What are you talking? You just need, you know, when you and me are happy. When you and me are happy, nobody will be living in a fear environment. When you go to most of these Arabian countries, Saudi Arabia and things like that, you leave the key of your car on the ignition and the car will be running. You go into the shopping mall, buy your something and come back. I'm telling you. Can you do that in front of your house? That's how to measure safety. That's how to measure, you know. So, and this planning. And because in most cities, we call smart cities, you know, let there be CCTV cameras that will know how many people that comes in an area at a particular time. Let me tell you, I lost my niece, bag in a taxi in Dubai about 10-15 years ago. And I went to the police station to report that, and they just asked me. Since then, I never forget. This is another information. They said, "What's the color of the head of the taxi?" I said, "I'm not too sure whether green or red or yellow." I said, "No. If you tell us, you will get the thing within 30 minutes or 1 hour." The color of the head. You know, in Dubai, they have green, orange, yellow, red, all these white. They said, "You tell me, they will know." That's planning. I'm so impressed. They said you don't need to know the number. You know the number, even the number of our cars. Do we know it? They said the color of the head roof of that taxi. That's the planning at its best. They will just punch on the, where did I take it? They will just pick any red car. They will just all the red that at the point where I picked it and where they stopped me, they will pick the car. They will tell me 30 minutes, go and take your something. That's planning. But my sister, we are not there yet. We are just wasting our time.
We'll be there one day, I guess. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. I enjoyed talking to you. I trust you enjoyed the show as well.
Thank you.
So in that light, we'd like you to say something about this show, the Cable Plus Property Company.
Oh, I'm telling you, when I came to this, when I entered this environment, I'm more than impressed. You know, I was saying that. Honestly, I'm really impressed. Let me just put it that way. I'm really impressed.
Thank
and
you
I wish
very
you
much.
the very best. You continue to go better. You are doing a good job. At least I watch it regularly. Maybe I'm going to subscribe now.
Thank you for your time, sir. And please subscribe.
I will do that. Yeah.
And that was the conversation with Town Planner Badejo Hakeem Olatunji, the man who is much interested in planning for the dead. Okay, don't forget to subscribe to this video, hit the subscribe button below, share the video with friends and family. Also head on to our social media pages at Tpl Property on Facebook and Instagram. My name is Oiza. I'll see you in the next video.